All right, all right, all right. I am back. I just am on the heels of More Than Just a Movie, where we break down classic Black films with Leroy. And I'm looking on here, making sure we are live. And I am making sure y'all can go on and see that. All right, welcome to Underrated, where I give my flowers to singers who may not get their flowers until they pass away. You know how people be like, that was my girl, that was my dude. You know, their music touched my life and they don't even know about it. And so I want to celebrate these amazing artists while they're alive because I feel like they're underrated and I want to show them some love. And that's what I'm doing right now. Who I am spotlighting this week. I'm so happy to do that. This is my girl. This has been my girl since she came out in the 90s. I'm talking about CeCe Peniston. I got a chance to see her right before COVID. I went to the concert at the City Winery in DC by myself. My daughters bought me my ticket because I love CeCe. They split it. And I went there, got dressed, and had a good time. And I was standing up and I was dancing and I was singing and I was doing my thing. CeCe Peniston, if you are watching, to me, you are underrated, but the people in the industry love you. And so do I. Your fans ride hard for you. But you may not get the recognition that I think, because it's about my opinion, I think that you get. But you know what? I'm sure others would agree. So if you've been under a rock the last few decades and don't know who CeCe Peniston is, or if you're just a little one and your parents didn't play CeCe Peniston, hopefully I'll shed some light on her today. So I said I was going to start with this. So Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., who I just did my last show with, check More Than Just a Movie, he said that Keep On Walking was his theme song because that's what he told his ex-girlfriend to do. Now, there are a lot of people out there that said, you know what? Keep on walking. I ain't talking to you anymore. You can just go on, keep on. A lot of people said that, CeCe. So maybe you got that song because you told somebody that. All right. So let's talk about CeCe Peniston. Cecilia Veronica CeCe Peniston is an American singer and a former beauty queen. I bet y'all didn't know that. In the early 90s, she scored 5 number one hits, U.S. Billboard Hot Dance Music and Club Play. Her signature song, Finally, I will say it was a poem and she turned that into a song, reached number 5 on the top Hot 100s. Then I just want to make sure. So she hails from Dayton, Ohio, and went to college in Phoenix, Arizona. And she's 52 years old. So she is like my kinfolk. I'll be 51 this year, and I believe she'll be 53. So she is in a category of house, dance, R&B, pop, soul, new jack swing. She can do it all. And she started by singing gospel music, as a lot of Black singers have. So Peniston has performed at private engagements where Aretha Franklin asked her to sing at her birthday party. Now, Auntie Riri was very particular, especially with the newer artists. If she invited CeCe to sing at her birthday party, that's saying a lot. Because y'all know Aretha Franklin had a history in her reputation preceded her, that she was real, that she was honest about how she felt about artists. You can even Google some of them where they ask how she felt about some of these artists. So she performed. Now, and this was in Detroit, Michigan. Now with Aretha Franklin, she had these legendary parties and she would pick certain people each year to perform at her birthday party. So it was a big deal. She's also sang for Pope John Paul II in Rome. And the 42nd president of the United States, Bill Clinton, during both of his inauguration ceremonies in Washington, D.C. She was also the first foreign female entertainer to perform post-apartheid in South Africa. Just sit that there for a moment, okay? If you don't know who CeCe Peniston is and you don't know what a big deal she has been to this industry. According to CeCe, her vocal range is between a 5 and a 7. It goes back octaves. So she can sing. She can hit those notes. On February 4th, 2011, Peniston signed a record deal with Westwag Records. So she's still out there to announce her first new solo album in 15 years. That was then. But and that was after. Okay. So it took her 15 years. So in 1996, she had the album I'm Moving On. And that lead single was my jam. I still play it right now. CeCe Peniston is all up and down my playlist. But so then 15 years later, she decided to come up with another one. And also, one of her favorites is Leroy's favorites, and my favorite and my daughter's is Keep On Walking. I remember the video and everything to Keep On Walking. And I have the live version on my playlist on my playlist on my phone. I won't give that company credit, but I have that live version. And I also have the live memories when I just saw her. I was hyped to see her. But I can tell you a special video in the 90s that came out. She had a song, I'm in the mood, and I hope you feel it too. Take me away. And I can't sing, but that's how I learned how to do the butterfly, the dance. It went like this. Y'all know that in the 90s where y'all did that, the butterfly. That's how I learned to do the butterfly, by watching that video over and over and over again. I believe I was living in Vegas at that time. And I was doing that, and that video was hot. And she was getting her life. She was all slenderized, and she had her, her hair done, her makeup done, and she was doing it. And I remember watching Unsung, and she was saying that they kind of put her in this dance box. They made her look older than she was. They had the little bob on her, and she had the little in the finally video, like the flower child with the bell bottoms, but that wasn't really her. She didn't really want to sing dance music. She wanted to sing soul music and do what she wanted. She wanted to be, with all of the younger artists and the trendy artists and singing, what she wanted to sing, but they kind of put her in this box, and she spent a lot of her career trying to get out of this box to be who she wanted to be. But then when you start making money and you start having dance hits and pops hits, they don't want you to vacillate between the two. They want you to stay in that pocket where you're making money and you're making those hits, because they feel like your core audience will be lost if you move to this way or that way. But even in some of her songs, you can still see, in most of her songs, you can hear the soul coming from that. And say CeCe Peniston is soulful, but she felt like she couldn't really do what she wanted. She said when she started doing, I'm in the mood, and different songs like that and Moving On, she kind of felt like she was in the pocket, in the zone that she wanted to be in. And of course, some of those records didn't make as much money, or they didn't hit where they wanted them to hit, like this Finally, fine. I was going to sing, but I can't sing and I don't want to start. But finally it's happening to me, and it was about a man meeting Mr. Right, the man of my dream, the only one that true love. And yes, it seems with brown cocoa skin and curly black hair, it's just I'm not going to do it. Finally, you come along. I want to sing, but that wasn't one of my gifts. That's not my ministry, right? Writing is. But my favorite, and it's so Inside That I Cried. Y'all remember that from the first album? It was Inside. That Inside I Cried. That was written by her, for her husband at that time, her first husband when she was young, and he was in the video. So when you see that video, that was her husband, Inside That I Cried. And you can hear the soul in that. So that was still on the brink of, that was with Finally and all of that, all the dance songs, but she still was able to slide that R&B in there. But one of my favorite songs, yes, I love them all. I love Moving On. I love Keep On Walking. I love Inside That I Cried. I love all of those songs. But my song, if you want to put on a song that gets me hyped and it makes me happy, is We Got a Love Thing. We got a love thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look what we got. That is my jam. My kids have been listening. They're in their 20s. They have been listening to that as long as, and I wish I can play it for you, but I don't have any licensing and I don't own the rights to that music. But look what we got. We got a love thing. And if you know that, I can sing that whole song and I can even do the beat and I can get up and do that. When that beat comes on and that song comes on, it gets me hyped and it makes me smile every time because it's like, we got a love thing. We got a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look what we got. I want to play that so bad, but I can't. But I will play it after this because I don't have to own the rights to it if I'm playing it off camera, right? But We Got a Love Thing is my song. So let's just talk for a moment about CeCe Peniston. And also, this is a show where I celebrate the artists I love. You know, I don't have a whole lot of, let me show you this picture. Let me show you that picture. This is like from the heart. I'll get some of the facts off of here, but it's me giving flowers and sharing my love for that person. It's not, in a sense, even though I'm a journalist, it's not that type of show. It's a love show. We got a love thing. Now, I wish I could use that as a theme of this show because that's really what it is, me paying homage to them. But what I want to do is really send my condolences. A few months ago, CeCe Peniston lost her father and she had it on Instagram. And I just remember years ago watching The Unsung and seeing on her Instagram page, she loved her daddy. And I'm sure that is extremely difficult. I lost my dad. This is the 3rd year. So I understand. And she was like super, super, super close with her dad. So I want to send my condolences to you, CeCe Peniston. If she never sees this or if you know her, just definitely. And I sent them through Instagram. And I've talked to her a couple of times through Instagram, and she's very gracious and sweet and nice and kind. And she responds back, even to, DMs. So I love her for that. And also when I went to go see her right before COVID, I think it was the year of COVID, she was on that stage getting her life, giving it all. And at first, I was so mad at that audience at the City Winery. She came back like a couple of weeks ago and I couldn't go because I had another engagement, but I wanted to go again. But it was almost like at first the audience was asleep on the section. She was like, DC, because she was hyped. And then, of course, everybody got into it. Now, the thing about some concerts, and some people get gifted tickets or their comp tickets and they might not know who the person is, but you could see her core audience, but she had that place rocking. And you know what? It didn't matter to me because I was up dancing. I went to that concert by myself. I drove to DC and I was like, I'm going to see my girl CeCe Peniston because I have seen hundreds of concerts, right? But there were certain people that I love that I can't believe I haven't seen, whether they hadn't toured or where it was maybe a date conflict where I couldn't do it. But I was going to see her. My kids bought that ticket, and I'm glad that I got a chance to see her, and I would love to see her again. But she was here also, I think, with Selena Johnson at one point, and then she came back. So when she comes back, because that DC, DMV market, a lot of artists are loved in that market. And so they always come through this area. So what you guys don't know about CeCe, and I talked about it a little earlier, she was a beauty queen. So she had the beauty, the brains, and the talent. And she had won countless awards and got a lot of recognition for doing that. So Peniston was only 21 years old when she debuted her single Finally. It was released. The song burst on to the US club scene in the fall of 1991, where it became an instant dance anthem, peaking in October at the top of the Billboard Hot Dance Music Club Play for 2 weeks. 2 weeks it was on there, while achieving a respectful starting position at number 29 overseas. After her first song climbed the international charts, Peniston was headed into the studio. And this is compliments of Wikipedia. So, but I look at that first to see and kind of compare it, because sometimes Wikipedia be off just a little bit. But Peniston was headed into the studio to record a full-length album. However, she had 2 months to pull a whole album together. That's what happens when you have a hit. They're going to test the waters. They don't know who you are. They know that you're pretty. They know that you can sing. And you wrote this song, because she wrote Finally, as I said, as a poem. So they're like, okay. But then when that song pops and hits, they're like, we got an album. We need an album together. And that's what they did with her. However, she had 2 months to pull this album together. They didn't realize the impact that Finally would have over this world. Until it reached top 5. And they were like, hold up, wait a minute, I think we got something. She also described how difficult it was being in the career at such an extreme pace. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, they just threw her out there, gave her an image, and it wasn't really her image because they were trying to work it fast. So imagine you wanting to be a star maybe your whole life. You want to be a singer. You want to sing what you want to sing, but this one song pops and it goes crazy. And now you have all of these imaging people. And you got to remember, this was in the 90s. It's not like you can create your own, like on YouTube now, or you can be the captain of your own ship. That was when you had people and they told you, this is what you're going to look like. This is what your hair is going to look like. This is the kind of music you're going to play. So she said at one point that she was pretty depressed and she was unhappy with how her career was going. Now, some might say, well, she should have been grateful. But if you're 20 something years old, you don't want to look like you're 30 something. And that's what she said, that they tried to make her look older and gave her this image. And when she looks at it, she didn't feel herself until she started getting into it and having a voice of her own to be the kind of artist she wanted to be. And she said she didn't care if it was super popular, like Finally or her other hits. She was comfortable and was happy doing what she was doing. And I love that for her, because sometimes it's not about how many units you sell or what kind of artist someone else thinks you should be. If you're singing what you want to sing, then it's all worth it in the end. She also described, so Finally, let's just say the result in doing Finally kind of catapulted her career. And it went all over the place in the charts in the US and in overseas. Now, my song, We Got a Love Thing, was the second single after Finally, and it was co-written by Shantae Savage with a video clip in heavy rotation on the TV music channels. It went to number 1, of course it did, in the US dance charts in February, number 20 in the Hot 100s, and in England, where Finally skipped to number 2. Eventually, We Got a Love Thing peaked at number 6. Who provided backing vocals on the album remains a source of contention. So while on her album Finally, Darnell Rush was credited on its single, and so there was some drama there. Who was credited, who actually sang, who actually wrote. And if you know anything about the industry, a lot of times that happens. People don't get the credit that they deserve, or people get false credit. So with some stuff going on there. So imagine you just starting out and it's all this stuff behind the scenes and you like, I just want to sing what I want to sing. So there was a lot of stuff going on. And if you get a chance, I'm not sure if TV1, shout out TV1, Unsung is one of my favorite shows, and it has been since day one. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's on demand or if you can find it even on YouTube's clips, but her Unsung was a very good Unsung. I love that, as all of them are, and they break it down. And and I love the fact that she's on there explaining her own life, because it's different when somebody is just talking about her. It's like I'm not really reporting her. I want to celebrate her, but when somebody comes on and say CeCe felt this, she did this, she did that, I'm like, let the person say it. So she did that on Unsung. But let's see here. So she was all over the world doing her thing, touring, running up the charts, doing her thing with her songs. While on tour, Keep On Walking, a hip hop swing-in composition, joined the list of Peniston's 3 consecutive running hits, bringing CeCe in June her 3rd #1 hit in the US. Keep On Walking, that was a jam. Let me tell you, when she was on the tennis courts, I haven't seen this in a minute, but I could tell you when she had that on and she was looking cute and she was walking up to the guy and stuff, and she was doing, you can just go, keep on, walk on, keep on. And then she was on, talking to you anymore. You can just, that's my song right now. I will crank that right now. I think I'm gonna have a CeCe Peniston dance party. I know all the words to her songs. When they come on, I'm singing them and I'm dancing around. And my daughters in their 20s, they love Keep On Walking. They love that song, and they love We Gotta Love Thing. And I'm trying to get that whole album on vinyl. That's what I'm trying to do, because I'm recollecting some vinyls. So if anybody out there knows where I can get a CeCe Peniston vinyl, her debut album, let me know. All right. So that hit the Billboard. So on October 17th, Billboard magazine announced that Peniston was one of the leading nominees in the Billboard Music Awards, being nominated in 4 categories, 3 times in the dance category finally for Best New Artist, Best Female Artist, and Best Director, and 1 in the Rap and R&B category for her urban hit, Keep On Walking. Ultimately, the song won 2 awards, and 3 of her singles released in 1992 were listed also within the top 100 songs of the Billboard Year in Chart. At number 20 with Finally, at number 61 with Keep On Walking, and at number 97 with We Gotta Love Thing. In the UK, Peniston was listed as the 20th of top selling singles artists in 1992. Additionally, songs taken from the album Finally achieved top 40 status, at least in the hip hop and R&B field. Let's talk about that grieving, heart-wrenching ballad, It Was Inside and I Cried. Again, that was her husband Malik Bird in that video. But it was also produced in conjunction with Anita Baker's cohort. So she had a lot of great people around her, working with other people and working with CeCe. By the end of that year, Peniston received several awards for her achievements in the music industry for 1992, among them Billboard Music Award, 3 ASCAP awards, annual Winter Music Conference, BMI Urban Award Achievement. The album itself was nominated on Soul Train Music Awards in 93, the Best R&B and Soul Album Female category. She went on to do the album in 1993, I Thought You Knew. That album had Forever in My Heart, which was produced by Brian McKnight, which was a beautiful song. And then my song, I'm in the Mood, which I talked about learning how to do the butterfly, that was on that second album too, Thought You Knew, originally by Soul, Shock, and Carlin. And then I'm not over you. That's my song too. That was on there as well, and that was Well, I'm mixing it too. I'm remixing right now, but that was a great song on there as well. So as far as that song, I'm in the Mood, that went to number 44. However, the song sealed the top 10 of the U.S. R&B charts. It did not go further than that on that album, but all of her albums were top charting songs. and I'm Not Over You. And that song Hit by Love, that was a great song too. But a lot of times they will peak in the US and then go over to the UK or other countries and kill the game. So when you go to other countries, some of them will act like CeCe Peniston just came out and like she's Michael Jackson. Like that's how they appreciate a little more, and it lasts a little longer over there. So sometimes even when you don't see people or you think that they fell off, they didn't. They might have wanted to take a break. They might have been sick of the industry, or they might be doing their thing overseas. So you never, never, never know. So CeCe Peniston, Cecilia Peniston, is who we're spotlighting this week. So in 1996 to 98, I'm Moving On, and the Best Of album came out. And that Moving On song, you got to look at when she was on Soul Train doing I'm Moving On. You got to check that. I think she had on white. I'm trying to remember. I think she had on white and she was dancing, and that's my song. I'm Moving On. So if you've never heard that, act like this is brand new and check out her on Soul Train doing that. And I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But CeCe Peniston had another album in 1998 to 2000, Nobody Else album. And she is still touring. As I said, she was just here. She is still singing. Her voice is still amazing. You know, she is, and I'm going to pull up her Instagram right now. She is looking beautiful. She is sounding beautiful. She really seems like she's taken a hold of her life. And I love that as a woman in their 50s. I understand that. Like, she's making no apologies and no qualms about who she is. She's performing what she wants. She's doing what she wants to do. And she is living her best life. A couple of months ago, she revealed that she shaved her head, you know, and she was kind of like, "Ooh, do I want to show it?" She took her wig off or her unit off and showed that, and she looked beautiful. And I love the confidence that takes to say, you know what? Let me just show who I am. Yeah, I'm still going to rock my weaves and I'm still going to rock my wigs, but let me show you this. And I thought that was a bold move. And it just made me just love her even more. Because at first she was like, I don't know if I want to, but she showed it and she looked beautiful. I'm looking at her now at the City Winery in Philly. She was there in April. She is looking good. You better go, CeCe. On her father's right here. But if you go to her Instagram, it's just simply CeCe Peniston. And yes, she has her black check mark. I might not have mine because I ain't no CeCe Peniston, but she has hers. And she has over 100K followers. And I'm looking at her City Winery tour. Her body looks good. I know she's into healthy eating and going to the gym. And look at her. Yes, CeCe. Come on, CeCe. She got the hair on point, the makeup. She got her little hats on, her outfits. And I love her personality, even on social media and at a concert, because I've been to so many concerts, and some people, if you just come and you just sing your songs and you leave, you know, I love the songs. Yes, it's boring, but she has personality. And she's dancing and she, you know, she's talking and stuff. And I love seeing a concert like that where I can see the person. And I saw that with CeCe. So CeCe, this is Underrated. I am Kendell Lenice, the remix coach. And I just wanted to show you some love. And I wanted to reintroduce you to those who know and love you and introduce you to new ones. So even if you don't even watch this whole video, but you say, CeCe Peniston, who is that? Let me see. Or you give her some streams and say, you know what? That used to be my jam, and play it, then it's all worth it, because it's all about the love here, because we got a love thing. Look what we got. We got a love thing, and I wanted to show some love to my girl, CeCe Peniston. All right, Underrated, where we give flowers, where I give flower to those I think deserve it in the music industry. Every week, Thursdays at 8 p.m., by 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you come back next week. Thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Keep singing. If I had that vinyl, my record player, I would be playing CeCe Peniston. But guess what? I got my phone and I'm about to rock out, dance out, pop out, all the genres she's in and I am going to play some CeCe Peniston, and I hope you give her some. I was going to be old school, say spin, some plays